San Francisco 49ers victorious in Week 15 against the Tennessee Titans. Our initial reaction here, game balls. Croc was in the house to let us know what that environment was like. All that and more coming up on today's Locked On 49ers.
You are Locked On 49ers, your daily San Francisco 49ers podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome to Locked On 49ers. Brian Peacock and Eric Crocker at BD Peacock, at Coach Crocky. Thanks, everybody, for making us your first listen on the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. And thanks for making us the number one sports podcast network. We're going to get into everything from this game, give out some game balls. See a lot of people already excited, jumping in the comments. Croc was there. He's going to let us know what it was like to be at Levi's on this Sunday. Today's episode of Locked On 49ers is brought to you by FanDuel. If you want to be right in the middle of the action this season, visit FanDuel.com and place your NFL live bets all season long. This is a fun game. The Tennessee Titans put up a fight, and the 49ers had to score some points, and score some points they did. Big output from the 49ers offense in this one, 37-24 final for the San Francisco 49ers, get their 10th win of the year on Kyle Shanahan's birthday. So happy 46th birthday to Kyle Shanahan. Big dub. I'm sure they're going to have a nice little party. Got an extra day for that Monday nighter coming up next week. Croc, the first thing I want to know is what was it like inside the building? I know it's the Tennessee Titans, which is not a big rivalry team or anything like that, and a team where the 49ers were expected to win by about 12 points. They are 12 and a half, in fact, and they won by 13. So they did just cover that spread as well. So it wasn't expected to be a nail biter. It wasn't necessarily, but I thought the Titans put up a big fight. What were the fans like in the building at Levi's Stadium on this Sunday?
Man, I thought the fans were great. The crowd was really good. I felt like they were into everything. The first down chants, how loud it got. I feel like on the first defensive possession, I'm like, golly, are they pumping sound into the stadium, or is that the 49ers fans? Because they got pretty loud, at least where I was. So that was really exciting to see. I think from a Tennessee Titan fan perspective, I saw more fans of other teams than Tennessee Titan fans. So it was heavy 49er fan, sprinkle of some Tennessee Titan fans, but a lot of listeners. My son got a chance to kind of see it in person, but a lot of listeners, man, saying what's up, saying that they were everydayers listening to the podcast. So I thought that was really cool. We're doing something right on this show.
Love that. Love hearing that. Fantastic stuff. And shout out to all the everydayers out there. And I hope you all said hi to Croc if you saw him. We don't get to Levi's enough, Croc. So it's nice when one of us can be there and represent a little bit on a Sunday. I like to be here live when the game ends, so we can jump on and do the pods. I think first game ball, like just right out of the gate, Brock Purdy, 140 quarterback or passer rating, 295 yards passing, 23 of 30. 3 touchdown passes. He was making some big throws, making big plays. There were tons of chunk plays in the passing game. A 38-yarder for Ricky Pearsall, a 23 and a 24-yarder for George Kittle, a 20-yarder to Jauan Jennings, a 30-yard pass. Love that one to Demarcus Robinson, seeing Brock Purdy get out there on the move, make some plays, run out of some pressure, maybe even create some pressure for himself. He was vibing. He was having fun. And I put on the background, Purdy's swagger is out of control, because even his own offensive lineman called him out after the game, jokingly saying, you know what, maybe even Brock needs to calm down the swag a little bit. He's feeling himself too much right now. He's flowing right now after a weird game where he threw a bunch of picks against the Panthers, in his 4th start now back from the injury. He's feeling it right now. And look, the Tennessee Titans, again, worst team in football potentially, but Brock was out there making throws, making plays, bunch of big chunk plays in the passing game, which you love to see.
You know what? I actually have a bone to pick with Brock Purdy.
Okay.
I took the over or the higher on PrizePicks on Robinson's receiving yards. It was live when I did it. I needed 5 more yards. And for the most part, I was very patient. And I said, you know what, may not get it. And then late in the game, on the very last drive, the 49ers did a play action. I see Robinson going across on that crosser. I said, ooh, I got it. $300 going right into my pockets. And for whatever reason, Brock Purdy ran out the pocket, scrambled around, threw a beautiful ball to Kendrick Bourne for a completion and a first down. I couldn't even be excited about the play. But outside of that, outside of me missing out on some money selfishly, I thought he was terrific. He made plays with his legs. He extended plays. I felt like it was very necessary outside of that one play. It was very necessary every time he did it. He got time. He was very efficient. I thought he was accurate for the most part, throughout this game. He played on time a lot and making plays with his legs as well. I loved when he made guys miss, running down the sideline, fakes the ball in the guy's face. The fans loved that as well. A lot of guys got a little chuckle out of that. And you talked about the swagger he was playing with. You definitely saw it on that play. The touchdowns to Jauan Jennings, I thought were terrific. And I feel like a lot of third down completions for big chunk yardage, especially on those crossers. And finally, we had a yak bro type of play from George Kittle, but one in particular from Ricky Pearsall, a guy who we were waiting for him to have this type of game. Hopefully he's healthy and everything checks out. But if he was a real yak bro, I think he would have scored on that play.
Yeah.
But nonetheless, beggars can't be choosers. I'll take it. It was a very explosive play. And the more times you have those kind of plays, the more you are going to win. So Brock Purdy definitely deserved a game ball outside of making me miss out on a few $100s. But he was awesome today. And, good job, Brock Purdy.
I love seeing that too. And I don't know if it's because not giving the white guy any respect on the outside, but I love seeing, Ricky Pearsall, he breaks across on the in breaking route, catches it, starts to scoot a little bit. And the DB, you can see the DB kind of slowly go through his head. He's like, I'm going to have to go right now if I'm going to catch this guy. And then Ricky Pearsall kind of had the same, but opposite, was like, I don't know if I'm going to be able to beat him there. So you can tell when the receiver starts to turn and go for the stiff arm, that he doesn't think he has the juice to get there. But so it's kind of funny watching those two players. I wonder if Pearsall might have been able to get there if he just put his head down and go and didn't try to turn around and go for the stiff arm. He kind of feel that he might have got run down from behind on that one. But yeah, I love seeing that. Ricky Pearsall, we do have an update from Ricky Pearsall here post game from Kyle Shanahan. He said that Ricky Pearsall and Pearsall himself in the locker room said that he irritated the PCL injury that he had earlier in the year, late in the game. And so I don't know if was it the right knee that, because he got rolled up on at the very beginning of the game. I mean, the way the game started, it was one of those where, 5 seconds into the game, there's guys hurt on the ground for both football teams. And you're like, okay, what's this going to be? And then the first drive of the game, Ricky Pearsall gets rolled up on when he's getting tackled on the sort of the hip drop tackle on the outside of his knee. That one looked like it could be terrible, knowing that he's already dealing with a knee injury.
I saw that, and I thought that was going to take him out.
Yeah.
And I had a fan standing next to me. I said, "Oh," I kind of cringed at it, and I don't think he noticed the hip drop tackle live. And he's like, "What happened?" I think they saw the catch, and I think some fans got excited with that. I'm like, "You didn't see the tackle and his leg underneath the defender?" And then they showed the replay, and he's like, "Oh man, I would assume that defender will get fined for that tackle." Obviously, it wasn't a flag live, but those are the things that hurt guys. And I felt like there was another one right after that on George Kittle. So the hip drop tackle, man, that thing is dangerous.
A lot of penalties on the secondary too of the Tennessee Titans there, and many of them when they were on coverage with Ricky Pearsall. But Kyle Shanahan said, quote, "We will know more for sure tomorrow." But I mean, he hurt the ankle on the first play. Okay, so there we go. That I hadn't heard the quote completely. So I guess it was an ankle that hurt him. So it wasn't the knee on that first play. Returned and played with that the whole game. And then the knee thing, I think, was just most likely irritated his PCL from the past. Those linger. So I would expect it to be all right, but he was battling through a lot today. So that was the quote from Kyle Shanahan after the game on Ricky Pearsall's knee. So luckily it was an ankle, I guess, luckily. I don't know. So now he's got an ankle and a knee to deal with from that game. But still a good game for Ricky Pearsall, who he deserves a game ball as well, right? We got to go Ricky Pearsall game ball now, and especially with how much we talked about him and where was he? He was absent in the passing game. Led the 49ers in receiving in this one. Didn't get to triple digits, but 6 catches for 96 yards. And again, love seeing the little yak bro come out of him on that 38-yarder.
Yep, that was awesome. I think that role, that's for him. Like, that's what he does well. And there were a few of those end breakers. Some of the crossers, okay, you're just trying to run away from a guy. But there were a couple where he was, getting squared up with the defender. Boom, boom, hit him with a little rocker step. Went the opposite way and created separation that way. So it's like, I think he can do that consistently and be that guy for the 49ers. I think the thing now is I feel like we're talking about one thing after another with him. It's like, all right, well, now can you work on just being able to stay healthy?
Yeah. Stay healthy. Ricky Pearsall, 49ers going to need you here down the stretch. More on the 49ers passing game and some more pass catchers and some more players deserving. I've got a game ball for a guy who is not a San Francisco 49er as well. In fact, he didn't even play in this specific football game. Next. Today's episode of Locked On 49ers brought to you by Aura Frames. The holidays are officially here, which means gift hunting season is on. And if you still need to get something meaningful, personal, guaranteed to get a reaction for someone in your life, Aura Frames is the gift that delivers every time. It's not just something you wrap. It's a way to share memories because Aura isn't your average picture frame. You can preload the frame with photos before gifting it. So when they plug it in, the memories are already there. If you want to commemorate some event, you can have all the photos already there and then gift it and they plug it in and it's on there. No apps to figure out in that case. No setup headaches, just instant smiles. But I love the gift for, say, grandparents, parents, newlyweds, anyone who loves photos. Endless uploads of pictures and 30-second videos through the Aura app, especially, if you have people that are far away from your kids and you want them to see the kids grow up, you can upload the photos for, say, the grandparents. And so they can watch the kids grow up and they don't even have to worry about messing around with the app and you can take care of it all for them. And they can, it can be like you're right there with your family with brand new photos every single day. It's a holiday gift that actually gets used. So for a limited time, save on the perfect gift by visiting auraframes.com to get $35 off Aura's best-selling Carver mat frames named #1 by Wirecutter by using promo code LOCKEDON at checkout. That's Aura, AURA frames.com, promo code LOCKEDON. This deal is exclusive to listeners and frames sell out fast, so order yours now and get it in time for the holidays. Support the show by mentioning us at checkout, promo code LOCKEDON. Terms and conditions apply. Croc, speaking of the everydayers that you saw out there at Levi's Stadium today, I want to thank all of them for making us the first listen of the day. And thanks for making the network the #1 sports podcast network. And I know they all live your team every day. That's the mantra of our network. But now everydayers can take it up a level and go ad-free, joining the Everydayer Club and get Locked On 49ers with no interruptions, members only, Discord access, and more. All for just $5 a month or $50 a year. All you got to do is go to lockedon49ers.supercast.com or check the link in the show notes to learn more. Special merch as well. This specific hat there that I just showed to the camera, not available currently, but there will be some merch available as well. Join the Everydayer Club. So, Croc, just one more note on Ricky Pearsall here. And as it pertains to Pearsall and getting back in the action, you love to see that. You love to see him make plays. But I just one of the things we talked about this week, and I think some listeners hit us up, and I think a lot of the frustration for Ricky Pearsall was directed at Ricky Pearsall. And I don't know if it came off that way from us. Kubiak,
offense, I felt like.
Right, yeah, and 49ers offensive coordinator this week spoke about it. He was asked about it, and he said basically it's circumstantial, the reason he hadn't gotten the ball a whole lot. And the guy can clearly get open and catch the football. Now, if there's 49ers fans out there, they're like, he's a first-round pick. I want him to be Justin Jefferson. I want him to be, this true alpha wide receiver one. I don't know if Ricky Pearsall's ever going to be that, and you saw it today. The dude can get open and he's got pure hands. See him catch the ball when he's falling down. He's on his knees. He's a natural catch of the football. He's a gym rat. He's going to be a good player. He's going to be that true #1 dude. I don't know about that, but he's fine. It's not like the ball's not coming his way. It's not like he can't get open, because that's one thing he can do is uncover and catch the football. You just, and I always talk about this with Ricky Pearsall. You take football and receiving down to its simplest elements, getting open, catching the ball. Those are the two things he's best at.
What do you mean it's circumstantial? Like, I believe that with him, just get him the ball.
Right.
It's not hard to figure out a way to incorporate a receiver into your game plan.
Right. I agree.
If you're telling me that Christian McCaffrey is running for 200 yards a game and that now you're not throwing the ball as much, I understand. But the 49ers are throwing the ball a decent amount, and he wasn't getting the rock. Our team's bracketing him, and I have a hard time thinking that team's like, let's double up. Let's double team Ricky Pearsall.
I mean, if anything, it's the other way around. There should be space, because every team's like, well, I know Christian McCaffrey's going to get the ball 30 times. We know who we have to stop in this offense.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah, good to see Ricky Pearsall involved and thriving in today's game. Hopefully he is healthy. George Kittle, always the heart and soul of the 49ers offense. You talked about the yak play down the left sideline, 8 catches for 88 yards. He had the touchdown as well. Love the throw, love the catch on that one. 9 targets. Didn't get to the double digits that we always talk about for George Kittle, but pretty close. Good job, Kyle, on your birthday. Getting almost 10 targets for George Kittle in this one. Game ball George Kittle. Anytime George Kittle is involved, I think he is the all-time leader in game balls for the Locked On 49ers podcast, and he gets another one. He stacks his record today.
Big time efficiency for him in 8 catches on 9 targets. So whenever he's that efficient, I feel like he should have more targets. Now, maybe circumstantial wise, they weren't able to target him a little bit more, and they were trying to get things going on the ground with Christian McCaffrey. He had 22 carries on the day. It still feels very clunky with the run game. Like, it took everything for him to get to 75 rushing yards on 22 carries. So not a lot of room. And there were a couple rounds, I know people, they kind of got at us about him not being as explosive, but it's clear he's not. And I'm sitting there next to one of the fans, and even they said it like, like that's something in the past. He gets through that. And instead of a 6 or 7 yard run, that's one of those that he springs off for, 40 yards. And we haven't seen that this year. I mean, as long as carries 20 yards. So that's one thing that I don't know if it's blocking wise. There are more ways for them to kind of free him up in the run game. But I mean, they tried a little bit of everything. You saw the inside runs, you saw the tosses, you saw them trying to get him out on the edge, and there just wasn't much room for him to really get going in the way that we were used to seeing him in previous years.
Yeah, and I think with Simmons and Sweat too, this isn't it's one of the things that the Titans have done pretty well recently, and it's probably coming into the Tennessee Titans. It's like, okay, where do you attack on that defense? Well, they've got a lot of size and strength on the interior of their defensive line, so maybe that's not going to be the thing that's going to be working for the 49ers today. Maybe try to get them on the outside a little bit more. Brian Robinson didn't have a lot of luck rushing the football either. 9 carries for 21 yards. He even had less yards per carry. Robinson was only 2.3 yards per carry. Christian McCaffrey, just a little below his season average, 3.3 yards per carry. Did have the touchdown. And Brock Purdy was nearly the leading rusher, 7 carries for 44 yards for Brock, making a lot of plays on his legs. So I think the matchup too, this team came in and look, that you're gonna have to find victories where you can if you're the Titans, and they're like, well, let's try to limit Christian McCaffrey, and that's one of our strengths, especially with those guys on the inside. And so I think this wasn't going to be a big game for Christian McCaffrey up the middle necessarily. I thought he might have been more involved in the passing game plan, but the ball went outward to the receivers a little bit, which I like. I think you need to spread things out a little bit, which leads me to the guy who scored twice in this game in Jauan Jennings. And he had only 3 catches, but 2 of them were for scores. And that's big time for your quarterback to know that you've got all these weapons that you can go to in the red zone. And it's one of the places the 49ers have been a lot better this year is their red zone offense. And Jauan Jennings has definitely been a part of that.
Yeah, Jauan Jennings, I mean, sure hands on the touchdowns where I don't think he had like a ton of separation, but did a really good job. And then his catch later that was a first down catch. I thought he was terrific on that too, showing strong hands. And that's what he's good for. He's going to block. He's going to make those kind of tough catches and be consistent with that. So yeah, no, it was definitely awesome seeing that version of Jauan Jennings and him getting to the end zone a couple of times.
Game ball to Kyle Shanahan. Happy birthday. I think he's being slept on for coach of the year with the way things have gone with this team and all the injuries that they've had to deal with. And speaking of age, a guy who just had his birthday a few days ago, game ball to Phillip Rivers, who darn near did it, Croc. I thought the Colts had the Seahawks 60-yard field goal. I think there's 45 seconds left, along Jackson Smith and Jigba catch and run. And unfortunately, the Seahawks did knock off the Indianapolis Colts. But Phillip Rivers out there doing it for all the old guys. Speaking of swag, he was fired up as well. I love seeing that. I'm rooting for him. Look, he's playing the 49ers next week, but it would have been really cool if he'd have just come out of retirement after 5 years and knocked off the Seahawks. He nearly did it, Croc.
He was close. I was keeping track. I got my phone open and I'm looking at the Rams game. It was getting a little close at the end, and then Matthew Stafford put them away with another scoring drive. But old man Rivers, he was trying to keep his squad in the game. Defense for the Colts did a terrific job, but the Seahawks kicker kicked the field goal. The Colts went down. They kicked the long field goal, and then Seahawks kicker once again kicked the field goal. That was kind of the nail in the coffin. But it was awesome seeing Phillip Rivers out there throwing passes.
All right. If you have any more game balls, let us know in the chat. I want to talk a little bit more about some of the other things that happened around the league. And then the Niners nearly were a 1 seed after today with the way some of the games were going. And
defense, 49ers defense. We got
to talk about the 49ers defense as well. A lot of game balls given out on the offense. Not as many going to be going the defense's way next. This episode of Locked On 49ers brought to you by FanDuel, America's #1 sports book. NFL Sundays, they move fast, one big play, and suddenly everything feels different. That's what makes live betting with FanDuel so exciting. You're not just watching the game, you're reacting to it in real time. With FanDuel, you can place live bets as the action unfolds. Every drive, every momentum swing, every highlight moment. Live betting is best when the game starts to shift. The receiver gets hot. Defense tightens up. The momentum flips after a turnover. You feel that one team just cannot stop the other team's run game. Live spreads and money lines adjust instantly. Player props update as guys heat up. You can bet the next touchdown scores, drive results, totals, and more. Keeps you locked into every snap. So if you want to be right in the middle of the action this season, every Sunday, every Monday night, every Thursday night, visit FanDuel.com and place your NFL live bets all season long. FanDuel, the game moves fast, and so can you. Okay, Croc, before we get into the rest of the NFC and what this looks like now after the 49ers win and some other interesting outcomes, 49ers defense. And I kind of agree with what I've heard here in the chat. Alex says, offense is fine. I'm concerned about the defense, specifically the run defense in the playoffs. We did see a 49ers team here that gave up 6.8 yards per carry, 7.4 yards per carry to the Titans lead back Tony Pollard. He had 14 carries for 104 yards in this game, and that's with playing from behind a little bit. And then Tyjae Spears had 34 yards. He ripped off a 20-yarder in his 3 carries, so he was average 11.3 yards per carry. And that 6.8 average is factoring in Chimere Dike with the negative 7-yard rushing attempt, and so pretty much 8 yards per carry about for the actual running backs on the Tennessee Titans in this one. Now, I know the 49ers have had a rough go with some of the injuries, but I thought the run defense would come a little bit stronger, especially against a team that that's one of the only things they do well.
Yeah, it was alarming to me, especially watching it live and seeing the plays develop. The 49ers really struggled mightily to defend the edge. There was no containment there, no containment. And, there was a holding penalty on one that got a run called back. But, I mean, even outside of that, the 49ers really just struggled. And when you look at the way Tony Pollard ran, again, I think the 49ers, you aren't playing to beat the Tennessee Titans, right? Like, you're hoping to beat the best of the NFC. And you want to play at that kind of level. And I think defensively, if this is a better team. Offensively, 49ers did what they were supposed to do. This is a Tennessee Titans defense that gave up, 400 and something passing yards to Shedeur Sanders, who was still trying to figure out what it means to be an NFL quarterback, right? And gave up a ton of points to them. So it's clearly not the best defense. So the 49ers offense, they did what they were supposed to do. Defensively, though, 49ers giving up way too much. And early on, I mean, they made even Ward, and luckily Ward missed a throw at the end of the half because that looked like it was going for a touchdown. But they were letting him be just a little too comfortable back there and be able to make some throws and then start making plays on the move. And there was some where you could see like just his youthfulness of the quarterback position at the NFL level. But I felt like he was just a little too comfortable at times, especially having the run and the pass at their disposal. So they got to figure out a way to just be better against the run, because when you're playing and I'm just keep thinking about the Rams. At some point in the postseason, if you want to get Super Bowl, it may have to go through the Rams, and they run the ball well, and they throw the ball well, and they can play defense, right? So how are you going to offset what they do? And then hopefully Ricky Pearsall is fine. Yes, the Rams gave up a ton of points to the Lions today, but that was with Amon-Ra St. Brown going crazy through the air and Jameson Williams. They have some legit playmakers that are out there. 49ers, there's a lack of explosiveness with their offense. Can they have that same threat to the Rams defense? Those are things that I'm curious to see, but the 49ers defense is definitely going to have to be much better than what they were today if they strive to potentially have a postseason run.
Did you see the plays unfold with the early touchdown, which was the sort of out and up from the tight end Gunnar Helm, which I thought was a well-designed play? The 49ers got hit with that, I believe, against, was it the Browns game? Was it just last week?
So Richard Sherman, my son thought it was so funny. I was messaging Richard Sherman. He's like, is that like actually Richard Sherman? I'm like, yeah. But when it happened last week, I had my thoughts on it. Maybe I'm tripping. Let me message Sherman. He's terrific with these concepts. And we discussed it and talked about who it may be on or may not be on or whatnot. But then it happened again today. And he said, in the Super Bowl against the Broncos. So, or it might have been the Chiefs. He said in the Super Bowl against the Broncos. I'm trying to think. What? Is that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers? Who they play in the Super Bowl? No, it wasn't them.
The Broncos, the one where Tim Tebow, the Tebow.
Maybe, right? Yeah, because it says Super Bowl against the Broncos. No, Peyton Manning.
Well, there was the Tebow. I was thinking of the Tebow playoff game where he hit Demaryius Thomas on the big play. Peyton Manning. Who did they play?
Yeah, the Seahawks did. They destroyed Peyton Manning. But okay. I don't know if that's exactly what he's talking about. But he said in the game against the Broncos, they ran this concept and it beat the defense. And he said since then it's a beater versus that coverage. So the 49ers are going to have to figure something out. The NFL is clearly a copycat league. The last game the 49ers played, they got beat on it for a touchdown. And Tennessee said, oh, you know what? We get in that same area. We're going to hit them with that same play if we get the same look. And that's exactly what happened.
2013. The chat coming strong. Thank you, because my memory is shot.
Yeah, Peyton Manning, they just destroyed.
Yeah.
Seahawks destroyed the Broncos in that game.
And then the double move that got Renardo Green and got him bad, but they didn't hit it to, I believe it was Jefferson down the left sideline, which would have been a big play, and they could not hit it. And it was right after Malik Mustafa just missed making a big play of his own, couldn't secure the interception that maybe he should have had on that one. Malik Mustafa, I think there were some 49ers defensive players that did play some pretty good football out there with Mustafa and Diamador Lenore. But man, Renardo Green got beat bad on that double move. I don't know if you saw that one.
I did see that one. It was like a sluggo.
Yeah, sluggo.
Ran a slant, go, boom, and he bit hard. And luckily the ball not only was overthrown, but it was overthrown and out of bounds, which big no-no when you have a guy open like that down the field. Got to give him a chance. Now, he did make up for it later in the game on a throw to Van Jefferson that got them down to about the 2-yard line where Jefferson ended up getting hurt. And, that was like, okay, let me just give him a chance. He had to kind of go up and get it.
So despite everything that happened Sunday, it was looking like the Rams might get beat. It was looking like the Seahawks might get beat. And then the 49ers would be in a really crazy spot here going into week 16. But the Rams pulled it out. The Seahawks pulled it out. And so for the 49ers, nothing really changes. In fact, in the NFC, the only thing that changed is with the Packers loss, they dropped back to 7 and swapped places again with the Bears, who jumped back up to the 2nd seed after the Bears win. So that's where the 49ers are right now. But again, they can continue to climb. And we'll have a matchup with the Seahawks in week 18. You got the Bears in week 17 after the Monday Nighter against the Colts next week. And everyone's rooting for the Seahawks now on Thursday night against the Rams to make this thing really interesting. Brock going down the stretch. So that's where we are right now. That's what happened in the West. Some good news, some bad news. Philip Rivers nearly did the impossible. We'll see what Kyle Shanahan has up his sleeve for Ricky Pearsall and Robert Saleh have up their sleeves for Philip Rivers on Monday Night Football next week. Should be a fun one.
Did we get a report on Jacob Cowing?
No. I don't think I've heard anything. Like a month ago, Kyle Shanahan said that maybe after the bye, but then I hadn't heard anything again recently in the last week or so about him potentially being activated. I mean, I don't.
Robinson being used a lot, and I will say that the one thing with, if Ricky Pearsall has to miss any time, Robinson, Kendrick Bourne, those guys they played a lot today. Now again, not a whole lot of targets, maybe 3 targets between the two of them. But they clearly shown that they are guys that can be productive, especially Kendrick Bourne. So you don't want to miss Ricky Pearsall, but at least you've seen guys who are capable of replacing some of that production.
DJ Bo in the chat says, I'm convinced Kyle tunes into Peacock. Every time you call out something, the next game it happens. I don't know, but he's probably just good at watching the tape and self-scouting. So he just sees the same things we're seeing. I doubt Kyle Shanahan has time. Maybe on his way to the facility every day. He's got about 30 minutes to listen to Locked On 49ers if he has one opportunity. And come on, in the chat, is Peacock really 6'4"? I don't think so. Come on, I don't need to lie about that. I don't need to look at Croc can tell you.
Brian Peacock is 6'4". Yes.
There we go.
He towers over me, and I'm 6'1".
Croc's listed 6'2".
Yeah, I'm listed at 6'2". I probably sometimes look 6'2", but I'm 6'1".
I'd be 6'6" in the NBA, Croc. They measure him in shoes and then give him another half inch on top of it. Okay. All right. Thanks everybody for listening to Locked On 49ers, making us your first listen. Thanks for making us the #1 sports podcast network. Check out the Everydayers Club. There's a link in the description. And Croc and I back tomorrow right here, Locked On 49ers.